east now for the north. So.
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the April meeting of the Ulster County Transportation Council Policy Committee. Roll call, Brian.
Sure, I will name off the municipality. If the voting member present could please state their name. Ulster County. Fine. City of Kingston,
Keith Phillips, City of Kingston.
Town of Saugerties,
Leanne Thornton.
Town of Ulster,
I know you're there, Jim.
we see it,
He's on,
Supervisor.
he's on mute.
New York State Department of Transportation,
Yeah,
Jen?
hi,
Yes,
Spencer Jobson and Allie Farley, is in person today.
great. New York State Thruway Authority,
Mike Bodett.
Village of Saugerties, Town of Rosendale,
Jean Walsh.
Town of Lloyd, Town of Plattekill,
Woody Steele.
Village of Ellenville, Town of New Paltz, Town of Woodstock, and Town of Gardner. Mary Beth is running late, but
We have a,
regardless, we have a quorum. Thank you.
thank you, everyone. Item 2 on the agenda, call for citizens' comments. There's no citizens in the room. Is there anyone online who would like to have a comment? Hearing none. Any council members in the room have a comment? Any council members online have a comment? Okay, item 3 on the agenda, approval of the February 25th, 2025 Policy Committee meeting summary. Take a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Mr. Fine is second. Supervisor Rosendale, Jim Walsh is the first. Any comments?
Printed copy is here if anyone would like it to review.
Hearing none. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So carried. Thank you. Communications and announcements, Brian?
Yes, sure. Everyone should have received our announcement regarding the New York State Department of Transportation Roadway Departure Safety Action Plan, local call for projects. This has been circulated. There are training seminars that are upcoming to learn about the opportunity. This is an opportunity to use federal aid on locations that have already been identified in Ulster County to perform a variety of countermeasures, proven safety countermeasures that are detailed in the call and will be talked about in the training. If there is a new mapping tool as well, the original map, when the original announcement was made, was rather difficult to read. New York State DOT has made an excellent GIS interactive dynamic map so that you can now see exactly where these locations are within the county. Most of the locations appear to be on the state system. I should note that, but there are certainly some locations on the county system and some towns as well. I've been speaking with some supervisors regarding their concerns about roadway departures, specifically on the state system. They have state highways where they know their first responders have been deployed many times at the same curves where off the road accidents are occurring. And they want to know what they can do to encourage the state to work on those locations, because the state will be taking funding to address issues of concern on their own system through this program as well. So the central office has encouraged letters of support for and identifying those locations. It never hurts. And if municipalities are interested in preparing a letter of support, they can certainly coordinate with me, and I can help them develop some language and point them to those locations. And we can submit something to the region and to central office, encouraging the state to address those locations.
When is the deadline on that?
It's June
13th.
13th. Thank you, Ally. That's the roadway departure action plan.
Just give me 10 seconds, Brian.
Sure.
Anyone in the room know whether their community is anticipating applying? Okay, anyone online? Know whether there's any local participation or?
It is a heavy lift, as any federal aid project is. And I'm working with Commissioner of Public Works. And we're reviewing possibilities for the county system.
Yeah, we've looked at, just so everyone, we looked at some of the things that the county could do. One of the things they're thinking about is actually doing inlaid fog lines and center lines so that they last longer than the paint and they're inlaid and they're more reflective. So they're looking at the cost of that and they've been participating in some of the webinar. So the county is thinking about an application on that basis.
Question.
Sure.
So does the DOT ever ask for federal funds to help with roads or state roads?
Yeah,
So-
and
so
they'll be
if we-
using,
So if we're having that study done in Rosendale, would it make sense for Rosendale to apply, or should we wait and see what DOT's?
Not on a roadway departure grant.
Okay.
Supervisor, it's
What-
a different, but it does make sense to consider what comes out of that stuff.
so here's what I'll say. Follow up with me if you wouldn't mind,
Okay.
Supervisor, and we'll take a look at the mapper
Okay,
and see if there are state highways in the town of Rosendale that have been identified. They have already identified hotspots.
okay,
And so I'll confirm if any of those locations are in Rosendale, and then if there are, we'll pursue next steps and
great, thank you.
prepare the letters.
And Brian, this is Danielle Freer. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Hi. Hi, everyone. So we don't have plans to submit from a town perspective, but I do plan on submitting a letter to the region and to the state regarding some hotspots that have been identified on 9W down in Esopus, where we're seeing some more businesses come in and just some strange traffic behavior. So I just wanted this group to be aware that we'll be really pushing to get some eyeballs on those areas that have been identified.
that's great.
Thank you,
Thank you. And again, if you need any assistance with that, let me know.
I will.
That's what I was
Thank you.
that's what I was gonna mention. I've had conversations with the town of Esopus as well as the town of Gardner. And I recommended to them to write a letter to the Department of Transportation identifying those locations so they come up on the radar.
Thank you.
But the state there's $90 million statewide for this program. The state, I don't know if the state has its own set aside from that 90 or in addition to that 90. Do
Okay.
you know, Ellie? But
No, it's divided between the
So,
counties, so,
Um,
go ahead, Alexia.
so Brian,
yeah,
so
go
on
ahead.
that, so as part of HSIP funding nationally, every state was, I believe, required to do a set aside for the local, what they're considering, right, local projects. So this is basically that HSIP set aside that really needs to be spent on local projects.
Okay, great.
Remember, I don't know if you guys recall, but I think his name was David that worked.
Yeah, Dave
Sure.
Stoss.
Yeah. He had brought this up last year, about the local set aside and, what was the status of it. So, yeah, I just want to mention that HSIP is a type of safety funding, but there's an actual set aside for the local system.
So the 10 million, that's all local dollars.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But,
Thank you.
I heard a few people mention that, they have safety concerns on the state highway system and they're sending them our way, which I think is a great idea. So thank you.
Anything else on roadway departure?
No, go ahead, Brian.
The other item I wanted to mention is that we've been contacted by the Federal Highway Administration and Federal Transit Administration liaisons in New York State. And it's our favorite time of year. This fall, we will be having our certification review, which happens every 3 years, in concert with Dutchess County and Orange County Transportation Councils. There's plenty more details to come, but we're looking at September or October. This is a week-long, very intensive review of the UCTC and the other MPOs and all of our activities and how well we are meeting the federal requirements. So there will be some public input components to that. Maybe even hosting our federal partners here at a UCTC meeting if we're able to schedule it. But we'll keep you posted. And it's great to have local participation during some of those meetings because our federal partners really like to hear the local perspective and how well we're doing or areas that may be in need of improvement. So we'll keep you posted there. And then finally, for those of you who are here in person, I did include some posters that I would appreciate it if you grabbed a few of those before you leave today. These are just flyers announcing the long-range transportation plan and the public engagement component of that, which includes a survey. The survey has been live for about 6 weeks now. We have close to 300 responses, which is great, but we want plenty more. It's open to anyone who travels in Ulster County, regardless of their mode of travel. And the survey will be open through June, so we have plenty of time. We placed posters on our buses. We've done some social media announcements with the assistance of the county executive. And of course, we forwarded the announcement electronically through the UCTC mailing address. But please put these up in publicly accessible locations. We would really appreciate it. If you need more, we'll certainly provide you with more. And we will be doing a small targeted media buy as well, so that users of social media will, if they travel in Ulster County, they will be pushed toward answering the survey as well. So if you have any questions regarding that, please let me know. Those are all the announcements I have.
Thank you, Brian. Any council members in the room have any announcements they want to make? Anyone online have any announcements they would like to make? Hearing none, new business, item 5. A, UCTC Resolution 2025-07, allocation of previously unallocated federal transit projects. Federal Transportation Administration, Section 5307, formula funds for regional transportation projects. Do I have a motion for approval? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Brian, discussion?
Sure. The transportation management area, which includes UCTC, Dutchess County Transportation Council, and Orange County Transportation Council, is a direct recipient of federal funds, 5307 funding. Every year, we receive upwards of $22 million, which is then distributed to eligible recipients. And every year, we always retain a portion of that allocation for future transit needs. If you point your attention to page 3, attachment 1 of Resolution 07, the federal dollars that have been put in savings are shown at the top. We have $16.9 million in 5307 funding that we made available through competitive solicitation to eligible recipients. Eligible recipients include the MTA and other designated recipients who operate public transit operations within the TMA area. A committee consisting of DOT and NPO staff from each county participated in the review of these applications, and the recommended recipients are shown in the middle table of attachment 1. I want to draw your attention to the second listing. Ulster County Area Transit was an applicant, and they were awarded $4.3 million in 5307 funding for the purchase of 4 battery electric buses for the transit system, as well as for an upgrade of needed transit software. The other award recipients are listed along with Ulster County. These funds require a 10% local match and 10% state match as well. After the awards are distributed, the TMA will have remaining $777 in future savings for future programs or projects.
Any questions? Any comments? Hearing none. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So carried. Item B, UCT Resolution 2025-08, amendment of the UCTC Federal Fiscal Year 2023-2027 Transportation Improvement Program to add a new Ulster County Area Transit UCAT PIN number 8 TU022 is shown in attachment 1. I have a motion for approval.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Supervisor. Do I have a second? Thank you. And I have a motion in a second. Just a quick, I think I can handle this one, but
All right, be my guest.
this is, I'll save your voice for a little bit.
Why don't you do that? I'll do this when you do it.
No, that's okay. This essentially is the allocation of the funding that Brian just spoke about. So this is actually putting the funding on the transportation improvement program. Any questions or comments?
I'd just like to add, any new project to be added to the TIP requires 15-day public comment period and public notice, which we did. We did not receive any public comment.
Hearing no comments, any opposed? Any abstentions? So carried, thank you. Item C, Resolution 2025.0-09, in support of the New York State Department of Transportation, NISDOT, targets for performance measures related to bridge and pavement conditions on the National Highway System and system and freight performance on the National Highway System, otherwise known as NHX. I have a motion for approval.
Make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Pine. Do I have a second? Anyone online like the second?
Supervisor Quigley will second.
Thank you very much, Supervisor. Appreciate it. I have a motion and a second. Brian, discussion?
Sure. In 2015, MPOs throughout the country were required to abide by the new performance measure standards that were created for a variety of different measurements, including safety and as well as infrastructure condition, which is the primary focus of this resolution. MPOs have the ability to meet and to measure their standards either locally on the local system, or they can simply opt to approve the New York State targets for the statewide system. And to date, that is what this MPO has done in order to meet the requirements of performance measurement. That is what every MPO in New York State, including New York City, NIMTEC, has always done as well. So the performance measures are outlined in attachment 1. This is PM3, and it addresses 4 primary areas: bridge performance on the National Highway System, pavement performance, system performance, which has to do with, is a measure of congestion, and freight performance, which is also a measure of congestion among the freight system. And it sets targets for a rolling target using 5 years to create a baseline, and then targets for year 2 and year 4, which are shown in the tables, attachment 1. So.
Thank you. Any comments, questions?
And my last comment should be that along with all the other performance measures that this MPO is required to advance, we will be reporting on them in the Transportation Improvement Program and in the long range plan as a performance report every year. So it is a requirement of the TIP and the LRTP.
Thank you, Brian. Any comments or questions? Once more? Hearing none. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So carried. Thank you. Other old business, number 6. Brian, I think you have a presentation on that.
I don't have a presentation this morning. We're still working through the TIP update, but I do have some information. So unfortunately, I don't have any slides to accompany it, so you have to listen to me talk for a little bit longer. All this year, we've been working at UCTC in updating the Transportation Improvement Program. The job of UCTC is to focus on the local program. which includes all of the locally sponsored highway, rail, safety and bridge projects, as well as the transit projects that are listed on the tip. I think everyone is aware at this point, if you use federal aid, the US DOT, that aid is required to be posted on the Transportation Improvement Program, primarily for the purpose of transparency, and so that the public knows where the investments are being made and what the schedule for those investments is. So we have been updating schedules for all of our local projects, as well as providing any needed offsets if there are budget needs for projects where dollars are available. It's quite a process, and accounting, bean counting, and a little bit of projection as well. And it really requires a close coordination with New York State DOT. And again, we really thank staff at Region 8 for their assistance. So last week, I submitted a preliminary draft highway program to the region for entrance into the statewide accounting system. It's called eStip, and it's what creates the final readout of the Transportation Improvement Program. And the summary is that it looks like for the highway system, we will not be able to add any new projects during this call for projects. As you'll recall, we did issue an expression of interest opening. So municipalities, if they're interested in using federal aid to do a project locally, they could submit a letter of or expression of interest. I did receive letters from the town of Lloyd, Saugerties Town and Village for separate projects, New Paltz for safety projects within Main Street, City of Kingston, and the town of Plattekill for a sidewalk project on a county road. All those projects, while unfortunately we're not able to fund them at this time, they will be included on our plan of projects for the long range plan, which is really the first step to get your foot in the door. And as dollars, if and when become available, it's important that you can point to the fact that these projects are listed on the long range transportation plan. So unfortunately, at this time, we are over programmed by the current estimation of $1.4 million. That means we had a target of $5 million and we exceeded it just by meeting the needs of the existing projects. We will be working later this week with the region to see if those needs can be met. There's no guarantee that this region is able to provide us with funds for those projects beyond the $5 million target, but we're optimistic that the needs of the existing projects already on the approved tip will be met. Those are for highway projects and trail projects. On the other side, we have a significant target for bridge funding. The specific program is off-system bridge funding, and it's been used for Bridge New York, and it's been used for bridges throughout Ulster County, primarily rural bridges. We received proposals for 3 bridges, one in the town of Warsing, one in the town of Lloyd, one for the town of Esopus, and another county. And in working with those municipalities, we believe that 2 of those proposals do have merit. I had a long conversation with Supervisor Freer from Esopus regarding the Valley Road Bridge, and we're trying to encourage the town to consider other options. It's a relatively small bridge, and the use of federal aid might be a pretty big effort for that facility. So we're trying to encourage the town to seek other options for that bridge, but otherwise, we do plan on including the other proposals for Lloyd, Warsing, and Ulster County on the tip. So we don't have a draft tip to share at this time. According to our own schedule, we are set to present the draft tip to the technical committee during the month of May. As soon as that draft document is available, I will provide it to all of our local sponsors for review. And they can go over it one last time, and then we'll hopefully move forward to final approval in the May-June meeting cycle.
So just, can you just back up on the bridge project and just give us a sense of what we're a block program?
Right, thank you. And we'll have a detailed presentation at the May meeting with slides, so you can see these numbers in front of us. So I apologize for not having those, but we are not using our full allocation. Even when we program the bridges that have been submitted, it looks like we'll have roughly $5 to $7 million of bridge funding that is currently unprogrammed. And so what we do if there are funds not programmed, we'll put it in what's called a block pin, which is for future use. And then we can combine that with the next Bridge New York call, or we can issue another call for local projects later in the fall.
And we'll have that discussion with the council is, we want to get this we want to get this tip adopted, so it's critical that we get the tip adopted. Supervisor,
Those are extra funds or have to go back to bridge, or can it be used for other transportation?
have to go to bridge, they're off-system bridge
Right.
funds,
Mhm.
so they have to go to bridges, and those bridges have to be off the federal aid system.
We received targets for 4 different federal programs.
Mhm.
One is STBG Flex, which can be used on any surface transportation project. And that is the specific program that we're over-programmed on because it's the best funding
Right.
to use. The other is Highway Safety Improvement Program funding, which was we've discussed already. Some of those dollars were provided to the Boise's Lane project in the town of Ulster. There's a small amount remaining there. I would expect it's amount that can't probably be programmed independently because it's not enough money. It's only $300,000. So that money will probably also be blocked. The bridge, off-system bridge funding was the other program. Then the 4th program is carbon reduction program funding. And we've been working, most of that is programmed if municipalities requested it and they were eligible. We tried to provide that funding to them as well.
Okay. Thank you.
So that's the update on it. I just want to say that one of the reasons we end up being over-programmed is the failure to deliver projects in a timely manner. If you don't deliver projects in a timely manner and it rolls into this tip cycle update, it counts against our target. Right, so the failure of several communities to essentially not deliver their projects in a timely manner essentially means when that funding rolls into this funding round, it counts against our target and we're not able to essentially use it for new projects. So if you don't do your project in a timely manner, it actually hurts the county as a whole in terms of the ability to find federal funds. It's about as tactful as I can say. Thank you. Brian, second topic on here is the UCTC. Any questions on the tip before I move on?
So again, we'll have a detailed presentation at next month's technical committee. Then the process moving forward is we have to have a public presentation of the tip outside of the tech and policy board meetings, which we'll schedule for early June. And we'll have a number of slides to show exactly where these dollars are being spent.
Okay. No questions online? No comments online? Oh, nothing? Not seeing anything? Okay. All right. I just want to thank Brian. This is an enormous effort for a single individual, what we're trying to essentially maintain the other functions of the Transportation Council. So thank you, Brian. Nice work.
We're not there yet,
Well,
but thank you. Hopefully we'll be there next month.
you're pretty close. I appreciate that. Next item on is the long range transportation plan update.
Yes, as I mentioned, the long range transportation plan public engagement component is up and running. This morning, we have Maris Fry with us. I believe, Maris, are you still online?
Yep, I'm here.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Do you want to just take a minute and provide us with a brief update of the work that Transpo Group has been doing in the past several weeks?
Yeah, I have a couple slides.
Great.
Yeah, sure.
I can share my screen. All right, can you all see that?
We sure can.
Great. So just we shared this slide at the last meeting, but just wanted to reiterate our schedule. So we're now in late April, so we are We've gotten to the point where we've really collected all of the prior materials and reviewed prior materials, collected all of the data that we need, or identified areas where we might need supplemental data. So we're very much in the LRTP development stage of the process. So our focus over the last month since we last spoke to you all is on the kind of the community profile section and the transportation system section. So those are two pretty data heavy components of the LRTP. So wanting to make sure we're getting all of the information and analysis complete that's necessary for the LRTP update. I did want to just highlight a couple things as far as the data analysis goes. Let me put this one up first. Oh, this should say yes. So obviously the last update was completed in 2019 or into 2020. So as I think probably everybody knows, we did have a pandemic after that. So there's a lot of kind of changes in the transportation system that are reflective of the pandemic and now post-pandemic timeline. So wanted to just highlight some of the trends as it relates to transit, just vehicular volumes and safety. So you'll see here with the UCAT monthly ridership, like many transit agencies, ridership went way down during COVID, and the ridership has slowly been creeping back up. We don't have the 2024 data here, but it is pretty in line with 2019 data. So transit ridership is certainly in line with the pre-pandemic ridership numbers. Similarly with the critical corridors, ADTs, again, there is a dip in volumes along all of the major corridors. For the most part, volumes are pretty much back at like the baseline 2019 levels. There's a few exceptions to that, but overall, that's where we're trending. And then serious injuries and fatalities have a little bit of the opposite trend. So in 2019, in Ulster County, there was 161 serious injuries and 14 fatalities. That jumped up fairly significantly in 2020 and has since kind of gone back down. That was also just kind of a common national trend. While there was a lot fewer vehicles on the road in 2020, because there were fewer vehicles on the road, people were able to travel faster, and there was an increase in serious injuries and fatalities, really nationally as a result of increased speeds. So all these trends are very much in line with national trends. So wanted to share just how those three areas have shifted over the last 5 years. I do also want to note, I don't have it on this slide, but also keeping with kind of national trends, there's been a shift away from single occupancy vehicle mode shares. So previously in Ulster County, it was 77% of travel to and from work was single occupancy vehicles. That's now down to 71% as of the latest census data. And a big part of that shift is shifting to telework. So less of a shift to other modes and more of a shift to, you know, working from home, working remotely. Again, common national trend. And then the last thing I wanted to touch on is just a new set of data that we're incorporating into the LRTP, which is the NPM-RDS data. So this allows us to look at specific roadway segments in Ulster County, not all of them, but at least some key corridors. So this is showing the NPM-RDS data for Main Street and New Paltz.
Maris, could I just interject? Could you explain
Yeah.
what the NPM RDS is? Thank you.
Yes, it is, well, so it stands for the National Performance Management Research Data Set. But it allows us to use vehicle data. So that's like, I think the I have to, sorry, this is not my specialty, so I'm going literally off of the website.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot because I think I have a sense. It's cell phone data, essentially. It's data that's taken from everyone's cell phone when you're traveling. And it uses the metadata. And so we're able to get a sense down to really small increments, like 5-minute snapshots throughout the entire country, but only on key corridors as the data really has really good resolution in Ulster County. But in those corridors where we do have that data, it's very powerful and it's really amazing what we can learn from it.
Yeah, so for this segment in particular, we aggregated the data into the different seasons and then by day. So we were looking at a 24-hour period, really with the intent of understanding how travel patterns in Ulster County may differ from kind of traditional patterns. We know that there's a lot of travel in and out of Ulster County on weekends, so we wanted to see how that was reflected in this data. So you can see that in the summer months, Fridays for both eastbound and westbound travel are by far the highest vehicle hours of delay.
Right, we specifically selected Route 299 in New Paltz because it was identified for a long time in the congestion management program. But I mean, anecdotally, everyone knows that Main Street New Paltz is a really great place to avoid if you can, when there's going to be any type of seasonal type of event, or even on most weekends nowadays.
Yep.
So the reason, I'm sorry, Maris, we apologize for interrupting. One of the reasons.
No, go ahead.
One of the reasons to use this kind of data is you think about how traffic counts are done. They're typically done, and if you think about how transportation projects or development projects are reviewed, they're typically done based on PM peaks. And what you're seeing in some of this data, what we were concerned about is that a PM peak was missing the real congestion that occurs in some of these communities during the summer, where they peak on Saturdays and Fridays and Sundays, rather than a traditional PM peak. So we wanted to take a look at this data, and it looks like it's bearing fruit in terms of what we're seeing. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, sure thing. Yeah, so obviously, summer Fridays are clearly the highest delay time period, and it is telling that, you know, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Thursday's a little bit higher, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in particular are significantly lower, even than Saturdays, which is definitely very telling for this corridor. That Saturday traffic is exceeding weekday traffic in many cases.
Great, thank you for that. Do you have any other updates?
That is all I have right now, unless there's any questions, happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Mark. So staying on this topic for just a little bit longer, the really interesting part about this data is you can actually geofence individual locations. And if you talk to our tourism department, tourism will tell you they actually geofence individual locations, and they can tell you the number of people who visit, how long they stay, and where they're from. And that's a really interesting data set that's out there for a lot of locations. They geofence our trail systems, they geofence individual events, special events, those types of things. And it's really some really telling data comes out of that when you start geofencing individual locations. And it can get down to literally properties, and you can tell literally look at the properties issue. Anyway, thanks, Mark. Do you have anything else, Mark?
Nope, that's all I have for now.
Thank you,
Thank
Maris.
you.
And I'll just add, in terms of the schedule of the long-range plan, we are continuing to update chapters, and we'll do these brief presentations during each of our meetings, but we're looking at an August, September approval is what the target is. So we should have the draft largely complete by late July into early August. And then we'll make it available to the UCTC Technical Committee for review. We will also have, at that time, a couple of public meetings to present the document to the public so that they're aware of it and can provide input on it. And then we'll move for final approval in September.
Let me ask a question. Do you know if there's a study that actually looks at the throughway traffic that's similar to this?
We're looking to do we're looking at several other corridors. So I mentioned not every corridor has the bandwidth. The data just doesn't
Right.
give results, but the throughway will. And
Okay.
that's another one that we're
The
considering.
reason I'm asking is it's showing people coming to our area and getting off the throughway pretty much on 299. But I happen to be able to see the throughway for my property, and Sundays going south is really, really congested, much more than Friday. So how many people are getting off to spend the weekends in Ulster County? And how many people are blocking traffic coming from the north going towards the city? And, how many people are having trouble getting into the city on the Sundays? I think there's an impact there that is pretty important, because people, whether they're getting on above Kingston but they're still impacting travel. And I'm just curious on that, because I don't see traffic too much on Fridays going north, but I do see.
Think of it the other way around. So if you're looking at traffic going north on Fridays, think if it's single location to multiple locations.
Mhm.
And if you're looking at traffic going south on Sunday, it's multiple locations to a single location.
Right,
That'll
right.
answer your question
Yeah.
in terms of with respect to congestion.
But we're looking at it saying, we're being impacted on Fridays, but the throughway is being impacted even more on Sunday. That's what it seems like.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anything else?
Not under the long-range plan. Thanks, Maris.
Okay,
Thank you.
project updates, Brian?
The only project update I have is regarding the Ulster County Area Transit Route Optimization Plan. The plan has been very much ongoing, although a little quiet the past several months. You may recall, opened up for public input, draft new routes of what we would envision to be the new Ulster County Area Transit System. Those routes were open to public comment. They have been being revised, and the consultant Foursquare ITP is presently developing detailed schedules and is hoping to perform test runs with UCAT buses to see if those schedules are realistic. And as soon as those test runs can be completed, we'll begin to roll out the results, the final draft results of the route optimization plan and our proposal for new routes. That said, this is a plan, and it's up to the agency, the transit provider, to implement it. And we've been working very closely with UCAT throughout this process. We believe conservatively at this point that this plan probably has a 3-year implementation schedule.
Yeah.
So it's not like when we finish the UCTC plan, you're gonna see new routes the next day. This is gonna take a very conscientious and careful implementation so that people know and can expect, so they know how to achieve their destinations if they're users of the system. We don't want to surprise anyone. So when we do complete the plan, there'll be an implementation schedule and plan as well.
Thank you, Brian. And the only other thing I would say is that along with us doing a route optimization plan, the county did apply for a multimodal funding for microtransit to serve the areas of Kingston, Woodstock and Phoenicia area, as well as New Paltz and Southern Ulster County. Some of those applications include trips out of county. Mainly because what we found is that when you look in the Platteville, Walkville area, a lot of those folks relate to shopping and doctor's experiences in Orange County. And the same thing when we go into the Phoenicia area, a lot of those people end up in Delaware County, in the Margaretville area. So we haven't heard from that grant, but but the application was made. We'll see. So when it comes in, that again is at least a 3 to 5 year implementation schedule on that. Thank you. Brian, Ulster County Traffic Safety Board is scheduled for May 5th.
Tentatively, we don't have any agenda items yet, but we do plan on meeting on the 5th. Also, one final traffic safety note, the school bus driver of the year ceremony will be held this Thursday in the Rotunda. I'm very sorry, I cannot recall the name of this year's awardee.
So I have to attend to figure out.
She has 30 years of experience driving for
Highland.
For Highlands, Central School District, so we're looking very forward to that ceremony.
Thank you, Brian.
11 a.m.
And very important for everyone that is here, the technical committee is scheduled to meet on May 27th, 2025. And the policy committee is scheduled to meet
4th Tuesday of June.
4th Tuesday in June. So we'll see you then. Is there any other business to come before the council? Anyone in the room have anything they want to announce?
I should say one final note about our policy committee. It just occurred to me. Policy committee members who are on the 2-year rotation.
Oh, that's right.
This is your last meeting. Congratulations. That includes the Village of Saugerties, Town of Rosendale, Town of Lloyd, Town of Plattekill, Village of Ellenville, Town of New Paltz, Town of Woodstock.
Can you announce who the alternatives for us?
I can,
I just think
but I
I
have
should.
that list in front of me.
Okay, I just want to make sure I let my counterpart know.
Yeah, and
I think it's Danielle, actually. isn't it?
It probably is Sopas.
Yeah,
We will do a mailing and notification electronically.
Okay.
So that all of our supervisors who are coming on board in June can review who their voting proxies are. And we can update that information. So
Okay.
we always do that. But it's important to know.
it's a good thing to bring up at the Supervisors Association, so.
Great.
When do they meet?
When's that?
It's don't remember. One of you guys know, Jim, do you know when we meet again? It's a Tuesday, but I can't.
Third Tuesday of the month.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary Beth. That was Mary Beth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I came late, sorry.
That's
It's
fine.
okay.
Thank
Third
you.
Tuesday of the month. Thank you. Maybe we'll attend.
Oh,
How's
that'd be very nice. I'd let Rich know.
Okay.
It's important to note because as we just mentioned, we're aiming to approve the transportation improvement program in June. So we will have a new roster of
And you need people
members
to show up.
and they need to hopefully, well,
So we don't meet in May? Or is the May
Yeah,
meeting is our last meeting?
The technical committee meeting will be in
Okay.
that. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's correct. What I would suggest for supervisors that are close to our meeting space, that they seek a proxy for those folks that are further away, and then you can represent a fellow
I'm happy.
elected official.
I'm happy to do that for whoever
There you go.
needs me.
Thank you. Any other business for the council? Hearing none, a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Supervisor. Mr. Pine is seconding that motion to adjourn. Thank you very much. Everybody enjoy this wonderful spring weather and have a great day.
Thank you.